Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnek here from, I was going to say extra time there, Tobias, but I'll say Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnek. Of course, we've been going every day live. I'm in the park area of the Domain. I'm actually just nearby. I might go for a walk a bit later during the program. But we've got Chris Vernon on deck, and the fashionable INDvsENG from Extra Time. Again, Extra Time is an incredibly good platform for everyone to hear, and he's amazing to be a part of the show. The likes of Buri Majunda and the future Kuntal Chakraborty will be a part of the Awesome Foursome. Chris Vernon, he's the part of the Awesome Onesome. Maybe we might go twosome with Simon Willis, but you only need one, Chris, don't you? Chris Vernon, he's a champ. Now, we've got a lot of the comments already coming on board. The biggest concern everybody seems to have is around what will happen in the fourth innings. Shall England bat or make India follow on? We talked last night, both Chris and I were silent about that. And although I think they should follow on, they should make India follow on. Many think they shouldn't, as in both Chris and Simon thought they wanted to run India into the ground. But my opinion is that I would follow on, as make them follow on. That's if they get the opportunity to, because Washington Sundar and, of course, Ashwin will bat past 121 runs today and make it inevitable that England will bat. All right, Tobias, you go first.
Yeah, I think all depends on how well Ashwin and Washington Sundar bats in the first hour. Obviously, England would look to make an early breakthrough because they would be targeting to impose a follow-on on the Indian team, which would be a psychological blow for the Indians. But the fact that there has been turn on this wicket, but then it's a home ground for Ashwin and Washington Sundar. As you know, they both come from Chennai. They are both local boys, so they know the conditions well. So I think the key here will be to strike a partnership to play according to the merit. So if they can strike a partnership, if they can play out the first hour, then who knows? They might eventually set the follow-on, which will be a huge boost for the confidence of the Indian team.
Yes, well, I think that's a very good approach. A good approach. I mean, it's a very good thought you had there, Tobias. What do you think, Chris?
No, I agree. I think that England first and foremost will give India the zero chance of winning the game. So yeah, I think that if we bowl them out in the first hour, which I think we will with the new ball, I think that Archer will be fresh. Hasn't bowled a lot like yesterday, and he's got quite economical action. You know, he's going to be pretty fresh and ready to go. So I'd expect quite a fiery opening spell. I think he'll be very aggressive and will try and rattle the Indians a little bit this morning. I think if we bowl them out of the first hour, I think we'll bat again. Look to bat till tea, maybe just after tea, and set India 450. You know, something like that. Yeah, if India survive past lunch, I think we'll probably have to enforce the follow on if we have a lead of 250. But it would just be interesting to see, because England won't want to risk having to bat last on that wicket and chasing 100 in a session. So it's going to be interesting just to see what they do, and hopefully they come out this morning and just bowl India out very quickly, and it makes an easy decision for them.
What do you think of do you still maintain the bowling rotation? Sorry, not bowling. The team player rotation will continue with England. That they will rotate Broad and Anderson and leave Archer.
I said from the start, I think that, and I think we said yesterday, I think Archer will play. I don't think Archer will get rotated. Maybe the last test, depending on results. But he's not played much cricket. He's fit. He's young. And he's kind of the X factor, in that side. And him and Mark Wood probably provide a very similar. That's the role they play. And Mark Wood's obviously not there for at least the first two tests. So I see that Broad and Anderson will get rotated. which is natural, and I think they both provide a very similar role on that wicket. And yeah, the batting, I don't know what they'll do. The batting, whether they'll bring someone into bat 3. But yeah, I think the bowling will stay very similar, and Gordon Anderson will just swap over.
Tobias, have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I totally agree with Chris, because I also think that it will be a toss up between Anderson and Broad. They are going to rotate Broad and Anderson, because obviously the fact that Broad is someone who has picked 500 wickets, and that's an incredible achievement. But in these conditions, I think pace will be a factor. Obviously, they are not express quick. Both Broad and Anderson, they are in the fag end of their career. Means obviously they still have some cricket left in them. But then I think Archer will be the key here. Means in the next 3 Test matches as well. He's definitely what Chris maintained, that he's going to be the X factor for England in the remaining 3 Test matches. So it will be a toss up between, and obviously when Mark Wood joins the side, he's going to add more power in the bowling lineup. But then it was very, and we almost agree that Tom Bess has been a revelation yesterday. Means the way he came, got Kohli out, and obviously, so Tom Bess will be a huge factor in the coming Test matches.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that yesterday, I was pretty adamant, and we said about how the impact that Jofra Archer will have, and I think that he's got a lot of people who don't know him from an English perspective just think he's quick, whereas I actually think he's a very, very fine bowler. And if you actually watch how he bowled yesterday, he was bowling leg cutters, he was bowling split seam balls, he was varying his pace and his bounce, and he's the difference. And I'd actually say that if we've got any chance of winning an Ashes series in Australia this winter, he's going to be the key. And look at the impact he had on the Ashes in the Ashes over here. I was at Lords when he hit Steve Smith, he hit Marnus Labuschagne on the head. He really is the difference, and I think that he gets a lot of bad press just because people think he's just quick, whereas actually he's a very fine bowler. But no, I think even over here we've been surprised at the progress of Dom Bess and how much he's maturing quite quickly, and he seems to have sort of a lucky knack of just getting wickets, and that's certainly a good thing to have as a bowler. And I think Jack Leach will come into the game more as well. I think Rishabh Pant got a hold of him yesterday. I thought it was a good counter-attack from Rishabh Pant. I think he got quite lucky. Sometimes on another day, one of those sixes easily goes straight up in the air. But, but I think Jack Leach, in the second innings, with the ball turning away from the bat, I think Jack Leach is probably going to be as much of a match winner as Dom Bess will be.
All right. Okay. Can you hear me clearly, guys?
That's better. There was a lot of sort of crackly noise before, but that seems much better now.
Yep. Okay. Okay. All right. So I fixed it up. So look, the commentary, we're getting a lot of commentary. There's some rather audacious comments saying that Washington Sundar will get 150. And I like to see that, but I'm not sure that will happen. The reality is the first hour to 2 hours play will be crucial, as we've spoken about. The reality is that India really, in my opinion, are going to fight and fight hard. I can't say they're not doing that. It's going to be an intriguing match, intriguing day yet again. I'm just loving this. My love of Test cricket has been lifelong, but I've been particularly interested in the last 2 or 3 Test matches to see that Kyle Mayers getting his double century. Blew
Fantastic.
me away. And even the way Pakistan and South Africa have gone. This match, what a pity Australia not playing South Africa now. I would have loved to have seen that. Actually, I don't have any updates on that, whether or not they're actually playing that at a later date. It still doesn't have any word, which is really frustrating. All right. World Champions. Debash, you want to go to England, perhaps, especially if India play New Zealand? Do you think who's your tip for the
but
world?
Prior to the World Test Championship final, India plays a full series against England. They're going to play 5 test matches against England. So definitely,
Exactly.
hopefully the situation's a lot better, and we can get to travel, because as you can see that here in India also the British media is not allowed to come down to India and cover the test matches. So is the Indian media. So this first test match has been played in an empty stand in a bio bubble atmosphere. The good thing is that the next test match in Chennai, the second test match, we will have some crowds, 50% crowds getting in to watch the match. That will be the first instance for any sporting event in India wherein you will have crowds coming in and watching the live game. So that is a very, very good positive sign here in India. And hopefully there will be access to media people. Obviously, there will be limited access, just like it was the case in Australia when India played Australia. So I think this augurs well. Means obviously when the vaccine do arrive, then we will have a lot more people traveling and a lot more people covering the cricket matches.
Yeah, I think that's massive, and we're quite lucky over here that there's been quite a lot of vaccine sort of rollout already. So I don't see there being any issues with.
Okay. All right, we just lost you there. Unfortunately, I just got a phone call from Alan Mullally while we were talking. He happened to ring on this phone, so I had interference because of that, which is unfortunate. Well, Alan Mullally is very keen to be a part of it, so we'll see him probably at a later stage. Guys, acknowledge me if you're hearing me.
Yeah, it's a slight delay,
Yeah.
Norman, but I can hear you. Your picture's delayed, but I think your voice is okay.
Chris, can you continue talking while I get my phone sorted?
Yeah, no. I think that, I mean, Debassis probably knows more than I do, but it's right. The World Test Championship is after the England series. Is that right?
Absolutely. It's after the England series.
I mean, assuming that India make the World Test Championship, I know that obviously England could upset this series. I don't necessarily see it happening, but, there's always a chance. That's going to be a good warm-up for India, to play New Zealand probably in conditions that will favour New Zealand generally. I know it will be late summer over here, so the pitches could be flatter. I don't necessarily see it. It might not be flatter at Lords, but to have 5 tests against possibly the best side in the world in English conditions, obviously, is going to be a great warm-up to take on Bolt, Southey, Jameson, Wagner, sort of in conditions that would suit India.
And absolutely, and I would agree with you that they will have a good warm up, but due to the fact that they're going to play England prior to the World Test Championship final, so they will know the conditions a lot better. Obviously, New Zealand will have a psychological edge due to the fact that when last time India traveled to New Zealand, they lost 2-0, and that too in a span of 3.5 days. Both the Test matches got over in 3.5 days. So it will be a lot more, they will have a lot of psychological edge over the Indians. But then I think India will have a very, very good warm-up going into the World Test Championship final, because due to the sheer fact that they would be there in England for almost 2 months, playing test series, playing 5 test matches against the likes of Broad, Anderson, Wood, Vokes, and likes of it. So I think and they're also playing a test match at Lords, if I'm not wrong. So one of the 5 test matches will be played at Lords. So they will have a fair idea about the conditions. So I think they will hold in good state, the preparations wise.
No, I think that's going to be key. I think that's great. Hopefully that England can cause an upset in the series. I don't see it. But when do you think? And I've seen a lot of comments, and obviously I'm not in India, but it seems to me that a lot of the comments so far is that India have been really poor, and not that England have been really good. Do you think that there'll be a big discussion over the India side for the second test? And depending on, we said in our chat last night that if England can win, if England can win,
I don't think so. Irrespective of the result, even if England goes on to win this test match, I don't think there won't be much discussion. Just because it's kind of a one-off test. Obviously, they are going into the England Test series after a huge win over Australia. So that is still fresh in the minds of the spectators, the fans. So I don't think there won't be a lot of chatter about even if England goes on to win the test match, because we all know that Australia won the first test match, and India came back strongly to win the test match. So, and if you go back in 2012, in that time, India won the first test match, but England came back to win the test series. So I think this will be a one-off test. Obviously, there will be a few discussions about the team composition due to the fact that Kuldeep Yadav was not played in this test match, and Shahbaz Nadeem was played. Then, so I don't think there will be much talk about, even if India lose this test match. I don't think, but still 2 more days to go. Who knows? India might bat well and save this test match as well.
No, I agree, and I think that it'll be interesting to see what they do with their side rotation-wise. It would probably be fair to say that England have got good squad depth there, that they can rotate Broad and Anderson. And although there's a lot talked about with Siraj and how good he is, he's still pretty unproven at test match level. You know, he's only played a couple of tests. And, you know, if, say, England do win the test, or even if India draw, you know, they're going to have to go into it and think, well, we've got a 3-day turnaround. We've had 2 seamers play, Bumrah and Sharma, who have been injured. Historically, you know, especially Sharma does have injury problems, and they're going to go, we've got 3-day turnaround. What I think they'll have to bring another seamer in, because if they're sat there thinking the guys are tired and we lose the toss, England could bat for 2 more days. Our seamers are going to be knackered. We're going to have to bring something in. So I assume that if Pandya is fit to bowl, he'll come in. If not, I think they'll play 3 seamers. I think they'll look at what England did sidewise and probably copy a similar model to that.
And also the fact that Mohammad Shami is he has started bowling at the nets. He's right now at the National Cricket Academy in Bangalore. So he is getting fit. So hopefully he will be available for the third test onwards. And that will be a huge boost, because both Shami and Bumrah in Indian conditions has been a huge impact. I mean, and especially Shami, means last one, if you look at his record in last 1 year, he has been monumental in India's success in India and abroad. So I think with Shami getting fit, and so it will be a huge boost. And as you have mentioned, that Hardik Pandya, he also will, once he gets fit, he will add a new dimension, because we all know that how good an all-rounder he is, both with the bat and the ball he can give. So I think obviously this is second test, you don't have much options with only Mohammad Siraj, but going down to third test, I think India will have a lot more options available.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think that the Jadeja factor not being fit is the key.
Just quickly, can you hear me, guys?
Sorry. Yeah.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's quite slow.
Listen, you've just mentioned Shami. Obviously, Umesh Yadav, what's his story as well?
He's also under rehab, but I don't think he would be able to make it. I think Mohammad Shami definitely, because he has started bowling. Obviously, he is bowling around 20 balls each day. He has been so slowly he has started bowling, and I think he would be fit for before the third test match, which is still a long, because after the second test and the third test there's a gap of 7 days. I think 24th is the third test, if I'm not wrong. So 17th the second test match gets over. So I think he will have quite some time to get full fitness.
I think that Jadeja not being fit is probably.
All right, I'm noticing a question from Satyaki Chatterjee. Chris?
Yeah, sorry, no, I saw the question. I think that Lords will host.
So I was just saying, guys. Chris, I was just saying. Yep. In June or July?
It's later in the summer, so it's after the India series. I think it might be later than July, but I'm sure that he probably knows. I know that the India series is later in the summer, which is a shame, but probably will be better probably make it for a better cricket series. I think that if India had come over early in the summer, sort of in May, early May time, then I think that England would have walked that series. I don't think that it would be a close series at all, just because historically how India go in English conditions. But no, I think that by the late summer that it'll be a much better sort of conditions over here in terms of maybe having crowds in, and I don't see any issues with England hosting that, the Lords hosting that test.
Okay. We've lost Debashis. I think the connection was, he's reconnecting now. Hang on. Just get him in the. Hang on a sec. Just getting Debashis in.
I'll have a look at the questions while we're doing this. No, I think it's oh, sorry. Is he back or?
Oh, Chris, we've lost. He's back in. Hang on.
It just seems that there's a little bit more of a delay today, Norman, at your end, hence why we're talking over a little bit each other. That's also.
Hang on. Okay. Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's the line's not great. I don't know whether your signal's not because you're outside or, but I can hear you, but it's very slow and sort of juddery. While Norman's doing that, he's back on mute. What are people's predictions for the play today? I've been having a think, and obviously I've done quite well on the first couple of days, so I'm feeling the pressure today. I think. What do I think on the plate today? I think that India will be 303 all out. England will bat till tea, set India quite a big tour, and then I think India will be 80 for 3 at the close. That's my prediction. So 80 for 3 at the close, chasing probably somewhere between 400 and 450, I imagine. I think that there's massive pressure on India in this test, and I think that people saying it's going to be an easy draw. I think the pitch will get worse. I think it will deteriorate, and I think that England will want 100 overs or 4 sessions, as Jack Daniels has said in the chats. But I think that there's big pressure here, and India probably have never had this sort of pressure before, especially in a home test. So I think England will win this test, and I think they'll win it with probably a session to spare tomorrow. Would be my prediction. What are people's thoughts in the chat while Norman's sort of sorting his camera out? We'll get Debashis back. What do people think? And I know that obviously the Indian guys are hopeful of a draw, but realistically, is a draw, what's the most likely result? I think that England have to be favourites to win as the most likely. If India do get a draw, then that's brilliant for them. He's back.
Yeah.
So I've just done my prediction, Debashis.
Yeah. I didn't get you.
Okay, so I think that India will be about 300 all out today. I think that we'll bowl India out in the first hour for about 300. I think England will probably bat till just after tea and bat India at the game. I think England want about 100 overs to win the test and want two new balls, hence the 100 overs. So I think India will be 70 or 80 for 3 at the close tonight, chasing probably between 450, 500.
I might sound biased, but I would still think that Ashwin we can see some inspiration from Ashwin and Washington Sundar, but more Ashwin. I think he's no mark with the bat. We all know. So I think the first hour will be key. So if India can bat well, I think they will be close to 400. And I think as I predicted, this match will very well headed to a 10 draw.
Yeah, it just depends how. As I said, the first out is key. I think that England are certainly fresher, not bowled as many overs as India have. I think that the fact we've had Ben Stokes as that third seamer is a massive plus, and I think that India will look at that decision to only pick two seamers as a poor one, just because with Ben Stokes bowling those overs, it keeps Anderson and Archer even fresher. You know, I think that they didn't have the control with the spinners that India, and therefore they had to use Sharma and Bumrah more, and therefore couldn't keep them as fresh and to attack. So I think the second new ball, Archer will be running in hard, and I think it might ruffle up the batsman a little bit. I think that I can see Archer running through the tail this morning. Yeah, I think England win is probably the most likely result. Just on, India are obviously a brilliant side, but if we played this test match 10 times from this position on this pitch, I think England would win more often than India would draw, if that makes sense.
And I could see Norman yawning.
I'm just being realistic. It's a deteriorating wicket. It's going to get worse. If we bat for a session on it, we can get the heavy roller on it twice. We're going to have a fresh bowling attack. There's a lot of pressure on India. Sharma's under pressure. Gill played some good shots, but got himself out. There's massive pressure on Kohli. Rahane played a poor shot. There's these Indian guys we spoke yesterday have probably never been under this sort of pressure before in a home test, and it's showing.
But test match is all about pressure, Chris. Test match is all about pressure. And these players thrives on the pressure. Pressure moments means the likes of Kohli and the Rahanes and the Pujaras and Rohit Sharma's means you cannot expect them to be failing twice in a test match. So hopefully they can bat well, and which I think they will. And fingers crossed, they will save this test match.
No, I know that players thrive under pressure, but it's a different type of pressure, isn't it?
Chris, now let me talk now. You've had your chance. It's my turn now. I'm going to say the word pressure. What about the pressure when Australia played India in Australia? Wasn't that pressure? That was a lot of pressure. India came through flying colours. So I appreciate everything you said, Chris, but don't discount India. There's still a lot that can happen in this match. It's unlikely, but it still can happen. Well,
no, I agree. I haven't discounted India at all. If you watch all of our videos, at not one point have I ever discounted India. It's a very different type of pressure to the one in Australia. In Australia, I actually think there was no pressure in Australia, purely because they weren't expected to win. They were expected to possibly lose 3 or 4-0. Here they've got home fans, different wicket, different. I just think it's a different type of pressure here. There's a lot more expectation to win this test or to dominate England. And as I said to you yesterday, when have India ever had this kind of pressure put on them in a home test match? They've not lost a home test for nearly 7 years. When have they ever been, after 3 days of a test match, 350 behind, looking to follow on to save a test match? I bet that hasn't happened for a decade.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The reality is what's happened, don't forget, Australia won on the Gabba for 32, 33 years. No one was expecting India to beat them there. So you've got a point. You've got a very good point. Although Bobby Thomas says your heavy roller theory is not scientifically validated, Chris.
No, I don't know much about ground. I think they call it a curator in India and Australia. I don't know loads about groundsmen and pitches, but that's what the commentators seem to be suggesting. And you've got Sunil Havaskar, Deep Dasgupta, and Lakshman Shivaranakrishnam on our commentary over here, and they've mentioned a few times about the heavy roller. And I'm not saying that Bobby Thomas is wrong, but it was interesting when England went out to bat yesterday morning. They had the heavy roller on. They had the heavy roller on the night before. yet India came out to bat and Kohli had the really light roller on. So there must be some thought behind it, and it must, that's not a coincidence, I don't think. So England will be doing everything they can to try and have little edges and little 5%ers here. And so far in the test, we said it last night, that everything, all those little things just seem to be going England's way, whether it be Root taking a one-handed catch or Pujara hitting Pope and going up in the air. And those things make a big difference. And if you look at England's innings, a couple of drop catches went down, Pant missed a stumping, a couple of misfields, and those things make a big difference in a test match. It's very hard to take 20 wickets in a test to win, especially if you're missing chances. And England just seem to have the momentum at the moment. And if we can keep doing that, then I'm optimistic, not hopeful. I'm optimistic that we can maybe snatch a win here. And if we can, that really makes this series very interesting.
Look, Chris, just quickly, I think you've been fantastic this match. You've been very well versed with your predictions, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm concerned about India in this test, but we've got 1, 2, 3 more tests to go. My hands are full of tests where India. So I'm just not going to let you be so spot on all the time. You've got all the supporters now are moving your way. We've got Jack Daniels, Manu, all these guys are supporting you. So you've turned the Indian audience around to support England. I'm amazed.
I just think that England have come out here with the expectation to get hammered, and I would say I'm going to put my neck on the line here. And I don't know what Debasis thinks, but have you seen a touring side come out here and look as comfortable against spin? Do you think that the England batting lineup is one of the more accomplished against spin that you've seen for a while in India?
Absolutely. Means obviously we all know how good a batsman is Joe Root against the spinners. We all know Josh Butt, and I think that something has got to do with the Josh Butler is also a pretty decent batsman against the spinners. But then the real challenge will be the English openers, how they face the challenge. It's just one test match, so it will be too premature to say that obviously as many as 7 batsmen they are playing in India for the first time, Chris.
Yeah,
this English team, at least 7 batsmen there. So I think we cannot judge on only one test match. We can at least judge after say 3 test matches as to how they have fared in this countering the spinners and playing the spinners. Obviously, I think Joe Root stands apart from both the sides. I think Joe Root is the best batsman on show in this test match, and over the years he has done well in India, and that's proven. But the fact is that for others to before we judge on the others, let's take 3 more test matches. Means then only we can, by the time the 3rd test match, we can judge how they fared in the test match against the spinners.
No, I completely agree. And I still think India will win the series. And I'm just trying to be realistic here. I'm not particularly blowing England's trumpet. I think England will just be impressed with how they've gone. I think that India have a problem with no Jadeja. Honestly, I don't think that from what we've seen, the second and third spinners, I don't think that they're test match quality. And I think that India historically need 3 spinners that can win a test match. And if England can solve the Ashwin question, which in the first innings they did, then I think it really, really makes this series very interesting. And before the series, I touched on how important the toss was in India. If England win that toss in the second test match, if we win here, or even if we get close and we bat again and we get Bumrah back out there and on a flat wicket that's going to get worse again, then it's massive, And if India win the toss 2 days ago, then we're probably sat here. India probably gets 650 and England are under pressure. So I think that the tosses, especially in the second test, is going to have a massive say in the outcome of this series potentially. Because if we win this test and then bat for 2 days after winning the toss, that really makes it interesting.
Okay, guys, I'm conscious of the time. It's about 5 minutes before the game starts. I've seen some very good late commentary there from a few people. In particular, they said there was an element of arrogance about the Indian batting against Pes, hence the wickets falling. Interesting comment. And that India looked relaxed after Aussie series, and England have hurt them somewhat. So there's a fair degree of pretty clear commentary there. All right, guys. Chris, thank you yet again. Chris is the backbone. DeBarches is the chest, and I am I'm not sure what I am, but I'm the legs maybe of this broadcast. The belly. Well, that's not really the comment I was going to say, Chris. But yet, okay, you said it. I mean,
what are your guys' predictions?
Again, if it comes to a looks contest, we know who's going to win, Chris. Not necessarily you. All right. So, thanks, guys, again. Thanks, Sebastian. Thanks, Chris. This is Norman Kochek. We're going to sign off here
what
on
are
Eyes
your
on
predictions?
Cricket with Norman Kochek. We're going to wonderful. Sorry.
What are your
predictions?
Because I've done mine, and we've got yours was pretty laughable yesterday, Norman. You got yours wrong yesterday,
Sure.
so you deserve a second chance to sort of make up and deserve a second chance.
I think India will bat after the first session and will actually avoid the follow-on. So
Okay.
India will not be batting. It'll be England. I actually think that Washington and Sundar, don't discount his batting. I think they can fight. So I think there's a good chance that England will bat again in the middle session, and then some stage in the last session they'll throw India in the bat for the rest of the innings, the rest of the match. Score-wise, I think I'm hoping India are 1 down for something, not 3 down as you predicted, Chris. I believe they'll be chasing 450. So that's my prediction. Chasing 450 and India will be 1 down. And I'm hoping it's not Rohit Sharma.
I think if you think that India will avoid the follow-on and then be batting tonight, England will have to score 250 in a session and a bit, and that I don't think they'll be able to score that quickly. So I think if India avoid the follow-on, then we'll probably have to bat into maybe the first session tomorrow, just for time.
Really?
I think. Well, if India get say the lead's 170 and they bat till close to tea, probably need a session and a half to do that. Then England will need to set probably 350. That means they have to score 150, 180. That's going to take probably a session and a half, isn't it? And that's the end of the day. So, if India can avoid the follow-on, then it's huge, and it tips the scale back to the draw, I think so.
And strange things do happen in test matches. Strange things do happen in test matches, and if India can avoid the follow-on, that will be a huge psychological confidence booster in the dressing room. So then, who knows? And if you go back to 2001, India were down and out. After following on, they came back to win that test match against Australia. So I think strange things happen in cricket. So the key for India will be to bat well, particularly Ashwin and Sundar, to save the follow-on first. If they can save the follow-on, that will be a huge boost in confidence.
Yeah, sure. So what's your prediction for today then?
Here.
I think India will save the follow-on, and by the end of day, I don't think England will. I think England will bat. If India can bat through till lunch, I think India will definitely bat 2 sessions. Maybe they will give India the last 1 hour to have a go at the Indian batsmen. At 10-15 overs with the new ball, they will have a go at the Indians.
Let's be honest, guys. It's very hard to know what's going to happen. It's so unpredictable, even to this point. It seems one way, but it could change so quickly. All right, guys. Thanks for the time. This has gone through. The game's about to start. This is Norman Kochek on Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochek. Chris and DeBarges, thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you, viewers. Been some great comments. Talk to you tonight. Jeff Thompson, Barry Knight, Adam Hollyoak, all on deck.
Chris Vernon.
See you then.
See you guys.
Yeah, Chris Vernon and DeBarges. Yeah, okay. See you later.
See you.
See you. Ciao.
So I'm trying to end this. It's not ending. So thank you, everyone. Chris and DeBarges have left. I'm trying to end this call now. Thanks to Bobby, Amit, Manu, a whole protest. There's a whole lot of Mitul, Amit. They've all been fantastic. Keep reporting. Keep talking to me, guys. Talk to you soon.